The garden might be slowing down, but the kitchen sure isn't. Today I'm snapping and canning the last of the green beans, freezing and freeze drying piles of squash and zucchini, blistering peppers for dip and the freezer, and making one of my favorite fresh cucumber salads. This is what processing an October harvest looks like. Simple, satisfying, and full of good food. Hey friends, welcome back to 6 Hearts on 6 Acres. And if you're, it could not be any nicer. It's literally like the perfect temperature. It's sunny. The birds are chirping. It is definitely starting to feel like fall, but it's not cold yet, which is just perfect in my book. Yesterday, I did a huge garden harvest. I got tons of beans, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, peppers, tomatoes, a little bit of everything out of the garden. And it's always my goal when I do a harvest to have that food preserved within 24 hours so that my family gets the maximum amount of freshness and nutrition from those foods before they start to degrade. So like I said, today I'm just out here snapping green beans. I am going to get these pressure canned. We are going to put up the squash and zucchini. We're going to make a really yummy salad with those cucumbers for us to eat on throughout the week. I have a ton of shishito peppers that I saw this recipe for. A creamy dip that I really want to make because we have a family fall party this weekend. And I think that would be perfect to bring to it. So lots going on in the kitchen the next day or two, and I am going to be bringing you guys along for all of it. So grab a cup of coffee and hang out with me for just a while. Canning green beans is a really simple process. Of course, you're going to start with clean beans and clean jars, and then we are just going to do the raw pack method. So I take my beans that have been snapped and cleaned, and I fill my jars to 1 inch of headspace. You want to get as many in there as possible, and so kind of beating them on the counter helps to pack them in. And then I just fill my jars with cold water from my sink, and I make sure that the water in my jars is the same temperature as the water in my canner so I don't have any temperature shock. Salt is completely optional, but I do add it for flavor. And then these jars are going to pressure can in a quart for 25 minutes. I got 7 jars filled here because that is what I have room for in my pressure canner. And I did have a little bit extra, so I am just going to package these up and throw them in my fridge. And we'll have them with dinner one night this week.
Beside me and wait, I sing hallelujah. I bring my burden again to my Father and my friend. I sing hallelujah. Anytime, any place, you stand beside me and wait. I sing hallelujah. I
We are going to work with these giant squash and zucchini first. These are the ones that I missed for a few days. They were hidden under leaves. The size got away from me, and these are no longer like great for fresh eating. Although I will say that this variety, I think it's Butterstick, stays really tender even at this huge size. Like, you don't have an issue with piercing the skin at all. And so they are still really good for zucchini bread or even throwing in soups. But today we are going to kind of finally dice them in the food processor, and I'm going to put them in the freeze dryer to make some zucchini flour. Take that chopped zucchini and throw it right into your food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you can just finely dice these on your own, but this is a huge time saver. We processed all of our huge zucchini, but we still have all of just our normal size zucchini. It is a new day, by the way, hence the outfit change. This is a super cute dress. It is the Hadassah in Huckleberry River, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so feminine and flattering. It's 100% cotton, and it's nursing friendly if that's something that you need. So if you have been looking for a dress, I would definitely recommend Super Cute Dresses. They have a very active Facebook page and a really beautiful website. And I am so happy to be collaborating with them. I love being able to just throw on a dress, especially one that is so comfortable as this, and I feel put together and pretty, but also I can work in this thing. It is full linen, like it's not going to get ruined by me cooking or gardening or anything like that. So all I'm gonna do with these squash and zucchini is cut them into rounds, and these are gonna be for us to make fried zucchini all winter long. When I was 15, I worked in a local restaurant here in town called the Black Kettle, and my job there was to make salads. They had like a famous Black Kettle salad and also clean tables. But all the time, I worked there with my two best friends, and we would always order their fried zucchini and mushrooms. And we just pulled them out of the freezer, and the fry cooks cooked them for us. And this is how they had them. They had them pre-battered and ready to go. And so that's kind of where I learned this trick at, and it works really well. Now that I have that zucchini all chopped up, I am gonna get the batter ready. And I'm just gonna go in with about equal parts cornmeal and flour. And then we are, of course, gonna season this up really well. I'm just gonna go in with salt, pepper, paprika, garlic, and onion powder. All right, and then we are just gonna toss our zucchini in here and get it covered in that mixture. And we are gonna be flash freezing this. So you're gonna want a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and then you're just gonna pull these zucchini out, and they are covered in flour at this point, and you're just gonna lie them flat on here. I have lost track of how many layers I have here, but these are all finished. I'm gonna take them and flash freeze them in my freezer. And then after they've frozen for about 24 hours, I'm just gonna vacuum seal them up, and we can pull them out whenever we want some fried zucchini fresh. This is one of those rush mornings. My daughter has a 9 a.m. volleyball game, so got up, made breakfast for my family. I still haven't cleaned it up, and I gotta get this zucchini and squash put up, run to the game, and then run back here because I have a session in my photography studio. And then I have to make a soup because we're having a family soup competition tonight, and then my daughter has a second game at 3 o'clock, so I'm gonna be running back to the gym, and then I'm gonna go down to the lake where my mom lives for our family soup party tonight. So it's just one of those days where everything has to be done super quickly. Six jars of freeze-dried squash and zucchini for us to eat off of all winter long is now ready to go. It is multiple days later, and I am still dealing with putting up everything that I harvested the other day. And while that's not ideal, it is real life, and so I am happy to be able to share that with you as well, because I know that I'm not the only one who sometimes doesn't have several hours in a day to just focus in the kitchen on putting up food. Sometimes I have to do a little bit at a time and just fit it into my schedule, because I'm a wife and I'm a mom and my kids are in sports, and I just have a lot going on, a busy life, which means sometimes vegetables don't get put up in that 24-hour time frame like I would love them to be. Sometimes it's several days later. Now I have kept these in the fridge. They're still fresh, they're still firm. So we are gonna turn these shishito peppers into a roasted shishito pepper dip. To this skillet, I'm gonna add just a touch of an avocado oil. I'm gonna let it get nice and hot. And then we're gonna dump in all of these shishitos and let them get nice and kind of charred and blistered. Cut the rest of the tops off of these peppers, and then I'm just gonna throw them in a quart-sized freezer bag and throw them in the freezer for the next time that I want to make this dip. I'm gonna end this by showing you my most favorite way to eat cucumbers, and this is a salad. I make it up in advance, throw it in my fridge, and we eat on it for a few days. Although I will be honest, it doesn't last long around here because we all love it, even my kids. But you're just gonna take your fresh cucumbers and slice them into just, I don't know, that thick of slices, probably like 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch. Whatever thickness that you like in a salad. This is gonna be cucumbers mixed with some mayonnaise and some sour cream, a little bit of vinegar, a whole bunch of fresh dill, and it is amazing. I have been loving all of the fresh cucumbers that we've been getting lately because we struggle really hard in the summer with cucumber beetles, and I don't get any cucumbers, like literally 1 to 2 before my plants die. But these fall cucumbers have just given so much, and so we are fully, fully enjoying them. I thought that I would probably process a bunch, and I haven't. I made 2 jars of like a fermented pickle, and the rest we have just been eating fresh, whether just cucumber slices or we've used them to make sushi and sushi bowls. But honestly, this is what we have done with most of them, is make this cucumber salad, and it is so good. I went out to the garden to grab some dill, and I got a little sidetracked while I was out there and decided I should definitely make a bouquet because we're expecting our possible first frost in the morning, and I might lose all of my flowers. So fingers crossed that it doesn't come yet, but if so, I'm gonna have one last bouquet for my kitchen table. But before I put that together, I'm gonna finish this cucumber salad. And this right here is the very best cucumber salad you will ever have. This smells so good. I kept a few peppers back. We're just gonna chop those up and throw them on the top for a garnish. And this is definitely gonna have to cool a bit before I taste it. Okra is not something that I typically put in a bouquet, but it was out there. Obviously, I missed harvesting it in time. It's huge, it's not edible anymore, so I thought it might add a little bit of interest to my bouquet. Something I do always add that is a little bit different is basil flowers. They're beautiful and they smell amazing. I have lots of zinnia. Yellow ones too. And then my snapdragons are blooming again. These are my very favorite flowers, so I love that they get a second wind in the fall. And I have one stem of Julep Opar. I didn't plant this. Actually, I haven't planted this for 4 years now, but every single fall, I noticed that it has sprouted back in my garden. It's so funny, it doesn't pop up in the spring at all, but I love just adding that in. It's just a dainty little touch to your bouquet. And this is what we're going with. I can't decide if I love the okra or not. We're gonna keep it for now. Thank you guys so much for being with me over the last few days as we were able to put up and preserve and cook with all of that food that we harvested from the garden. I'm thankful for every single bit of it, and I'm thankful for you. So if you are still here, make sure that you like this video, leave me a comment, maybe give it a hype if you really loved it. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. I will catch you in the next video. Until then, may God bless.